Today, we're sitting down across the desktop from Robbert Newbill, and he is a brand new franchise owner of a company called House Doctors, and we're going to get into that, some today. But I'm fascinated, here at Desktop. But I'm Dave Griffith, by the way, co-owner of Desktop. But I am fascinated by people's stories. That's why we decided to do this, this podcast. Yeah. Is it a business podcast? Yes, it is. But it's more of a life podcast because business is just a part of our stories. Yeah. It's just a part of our life journey. And you had a very interesting one. I think I talked about I talked about this with you 2 months ago. Yeah. And schedules, and I've been excited for this podcast.
Me too.
And so tell us where it all started. Where'd you grow up? How'd you make your way to the military? Let's get the backstory here.
Okay. So I grew up in California. My parents separated when I was young, so I had the experience of going back and forth between my mother's and father's. I lived with my mother until I was in the 7th grade, and then moved to live with my father through what I think are my most formative years.
About the time you got testosterone, Mom said you need to go live with Dad.
That's about right. Yeah, I mean, it was for other reasons, but yeah, I went to live with my father and my stepmother, and I've got 4 brothers, 2 on my dad's side, 2 with my mother, and but at the time, my father worked on a 20,000 acre ranch on the Sacramento River in a town called Chico, California.
Wow.
And it was a young boy's paradise to grow up in that environment. Now, I didn't always appreciate it.
A lot of chores.
Growing up
a lot of work
out there, a lot of work, working, helping my dad, but that's really where I developed my work ethic. I mean, there were things that I had to do when I was a kid that probably didn't meet OSHA standards today.
Of course not.
But they had to get done, and I had to do them. And, that's just the way it was. And
what is OSHA farm standards, by the way?
What is what?
What are OSHA farm standards?
Oh, I don't know.
They don't exist, do they?
Oh, I don't know.
In some book somewhere, but does anybody...
I have no idea, but I know I was in some environments that were like, probably, I was, the one I'm thinking about, I was in this grain dryer, cleaning out about 3 feet of, grain that had become wet that they had to get out of there. Yeah. And I mean, it's Northern California summer. It is hot. And then you climb inside of this big tin box with an opening about that big.
Yeah.
You could just big enough to squeeze through. I wouldn't make it through now. And then filling up 5-gallon buckets with this grain and hoisting it out, dumping it, and then doing it again until it was all done. I mean, it must have been 130 inside of there. So I would probably think that somebody would have had a case for some child labor laws to have a 16-year-old in there doing that. But it was just something that had to get done. Yeah. And I love that I had adults in my life at that time that trusted me to do things like that, to, go take the feed truck and get it filled up and come back and feed the cattle in the feedlot and, working for the farming crew, driving a bank out wagon, getting the grain from the harvesters and putting it into trucks. And it was a lot of fun.
20,000 acres. I mean, that's not small.
Oh, that deer hunting. I mean, I had access to whatever I wanted to hunt. There were pheasants all over the place. I didn't do a lot of pheasant hunting when I was young, but that is the place to go. If you're looking for a place to go pheasant hunting, go to Lana Seco Rancho in Chico, California. If you can get somebody to give you access.
My dad was Air Force, and so we were at I think Mather Air Force Base up in Sacramento, near Sacramento.
Okay,
and we were there for 2 years. Our particular house and that housing unit on base, there was 300 acres, just wide open behind our house.
Yeah. Pheasant
everywhere.
Yeah.
And they would allow the guys to go out there and pheasant hunt.
Yeah.
And so that's where I got my first taste of pheasant hunting when I was 8 years old. Yeah. And of course, there are rattlesnakes out there too.
Oh, yeah.
You guys had rattlesnakes.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But it was yeah, it was great place to grow up. But I was a young boy, and I loved to get in trouble. You know, I didn't love to get in trouble, but I
It
managed
just seemed to find you.
Yeah, it wasn't my fault. Never my fault. Of course, it was my fault, and I was tough to manage. And when I graduated high school, or when I was getting ready to graduate high school, and all my friends were filling out college applications, and these were other students that I felt like I was on level with. Like I felt like I could be at their level, like I was at their level in high school, academically, athletically.
Sure.
But college really intimidated me. Chico State University was kind of like my only exposure to college. And in the 90s, and I think before that, it had a really bad reputation as a party school. And I know some people would be like, oh, like send me there, right? But I mean, it was wild.
I'm thinking like every college. That's not like Jesuit.
I don't know. They had this thing called Pioneer Days, and I remember hearing about cars getting turned over, fires started, not for any like social issue or protest. This was just we know it's coming. It's going to get wild. It does get wild. Crazy things happen, and I just, when I looked at that, I knew that would consume me.
Yeah.
And I mean, and it really scared me. I knew I wanted to get to a place like that one day, but I guess I had the self-awareness to know I wasn't ready for it. I wasn't mature enough for it.
That's actually maturity, to know that you're not ready for that environment.
Yeah, I guess. So when I was at home at the end of summer in 1995, and my parents had uninvited me from the family vacation in the mountains, and that's when I went and talked to the Navy recruiter first. Wasn't really sold on what they had to say. Next day, I went to the Army recruiter and I said, "Hey, can you get me a job that's outdoors?" Which, of course, I mean that's a
yes. We can.
Immediately he started salivating down his face. But yeah, I went into the Army, and my favorite thing about the Army was that immediately after I enlisted, I was put into a room to live with a bunch of people who most of them didn't look like me. I was with a bunch of Puerto Rican guys who barely spoke English. I didn't grow up around black people, and so now I'm bunking next to people who they come from different parts of the country. They talk different. They were just different.
Where did they send you?
Where did they send me?
Yeah.
Where did I do basic training?
Yeah.
Fort Sill, Oklahoma.
Okay.
Yeah. And so we were all, I think most of us were going to become artillerymen, doing one of the many jobs in the artillery. And we all found a way over the next 8 weeks or 16, whatever it was, to become a team. And that's what the Army's all about. It's about taking everyone in our country with all the things that they bring from their different backgrounds and bringing them together and forming a team. And I immediately fell in love with that. And I got to do some really fun things when I was enlisted that, firmed my love for the Army. And there was a night I was on they called it DIVARTY, Division Artillery staff duty, with my platoon sergeant. So I was like buffing floors and answering phone calls, and just had to be at the desk for 24 hours. And we do all that, work happens at night. So when people come in the morning, everything looks amazing. And my platoon sergeant looked at me. His name was Harris. I've got his first name somewhere, but Sergeant First Class Harris looked at me and said, "Hey, Newbill, what do you want to do in the Army?" And I said, "Well, Sergeant Harris, I'm not really sure. But before I left home, my recruiter gave me this pamphlet on a place called West Point. And I don't know much about it. I think it's a college. And I think that might be, I want to go to college one day. And if that's what this is, then I think I'd like to try and get there. And he could have said anything. He could have said, Newbill, that's a bunch of BS. You need to be a non-commissioned officer. Because I think I was a pretty good soldier, which isn't hard to do. If you're in the right uniform and you show up a few minutes early and you do what you're told, you can be a good soldier too. That's really what it all comes down to. But Sergeant Hott looked at me and said, or Sergeant Harris looked at me and said, go grab that pamphlet. I want to take a look at it. And so I went to my barracks, I brought it back down, and we looked through it together, and he said, I think you could do this, Newbill. And that's
all you needed.
Yeah, exactly. It's all I needed. But that's all any of us needs, and it's so crazy when I look back at it, how impactful that one little engagement was, between he and I, and how differently it could have gone if he had been dismissive or given me different advice. But after that, I filled out my application and got accepted to the West Point Prep School, which was in Fort Monmouth, New Jersey at the time. And I went there for a year, went on to West Point, had an incredible experience, connected with, just some of my most close friends are still those guys that I went to school with. And maybe we can talk about that later, but we still get together at least once a year for a fantasy football draft. We do it in person. And those guys are very important to me, very important to me. They are like, people say, talk about accountability, and you got to have people that are willing to tell you hard truths. And I have that. When I don't know how to solve a problem, I have people that I can go to that are also going through this similar phase of life. Some of them are starting businesses. Some of them are in city government. One of them still in the Army. But we've all gone through the transition out of and into whatever's next.
Well, it's not only that, but it's everybody in the military is an orphan. In that they've left their family behind. Their parents, their sisters, brothers, cousins, and they're getting sent all over the world, along with a lot of other orphans, who have done the same thing, and that becomes a new family. My dad was Air Force for 25 years, and he's gone now, but my mom still keeps up with like 5 different families that we were with at Mather, we were with Okinawa, Japan, and they become just so tight. My son-in-law's an Air Force pilot. We've talked about this, and every year they've got like 5 commitments where they have to go to 5 different like halfway points to meet families that they met at different bases that they've been at.
That's so great.
It is.
That keeps you going.
Love it.
Like knowing that you have those commitments coming up, that keeps you going.
It's extended family.
Yeah.
No blood relation, but it's sometimes closer than blood relation family.
100%. I completely understand that. These guys that I'm talking about are my brothers, and they really are. So really incredible experience in college.
So you go there in 96?
I got there in, I think, 97 at the prep school, and then started West Point in 98 and graduated in 2002. Okay,
so just after 9/11.
9/11 happened September 11, 2001.
Right.
When I was in, I think I was in my
senior
We were
year.
like the first class that had these TV cards on our desktop computers, and that was a really big deal back then. Nobody liked that we could watch television in our rooms. But I think one of my roommates, Kevin Johnson or Victor Jaffet, woke me up and said that this had happened. Woke me up because anytime we got a chance to sleep, I was out. Sure. I wish I could sleep like that now. So I think we turned on our TV card in our room, but I had to go to my class. So when I got to my class in Mahan Hall, the systems engineering building, they had it on in there. And one of the things that struck me most about that day was how, I wish I remembered his name, but my instructor, I think he was a major, after about 5 minutes, he said, "Okay, guys, this has happened, but we got a lesson plan today, so we're going to get to work." And I mean, the world was literally changing around us. Yeah. And what do? No, we have a plan. We're going to go back to it, and we're going to move forward. And that really resonated with me.
That was you think about the military, that was the best thing he could have done, because when you get attacked, you've got to adjust and counterattack.
Yeah.
That's basically what he was saying. We just got attacked. We have to now start preparing for whatever's coming next. We're not going to sit here and worry.
And for that, it meant continuing on with class.
That's right.
I mean,
for him, that was your mission at that time.
As silly as that might sound, that was our mission. That was to make it through and graduate and become lieutenants. And that's what we did. And I met my wife while I was at West Point, and we started dating. And
was she from New York?
No, she's from California.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, I went home. I think this was like before my senior year, maybe, or maybe it was my junior year. It was my senior year. The summer before my senior year. Gosh, I don't know. She'll get angry with me. It was one of those summers.
You don't remember the first time we met?
We connected and we started talking a few months later, and then I brought her out to a number of the events, and every chance I could, I'd go see her or she'd come see me, and a long distance relationship, obviously.
Did she know what she was getting into with a military life?
Throughout that process, I think she kind of got a feel for it, and we ended up. I asked her to marry. I flew out and asked her to marry me after I had graduated and I'd done some schools at Fort Benning, and so it was I think it was in like March. I flew out and asked her to marry me, and then she dropped everything. She'd already been working for a couple of years in California as a teacher, and drove out to North Carolina, Fort Bragg, to be with me, and her mom came with her, and. And then her mom left, and then it was only, like, we knew we were deploying, but I think at the time we thought that maybe we would deploy later in the year. But then it became discussed like, hey, this is happening really soon. So I don't know if we had deployment orders yet, but Jer and I were, I told her, I was like, hey, I'm pretty sure this is going to happen. Why don't we just get married at the courthouse? I mean, we're going to do this. I want to make sure that I really wanted to make sure that she was taken care of. If something were to happen
to you, then she gets benefits. Yeah.
Yeah. So we got married, and I think I left about a month later, and so that was when she was fully immersed in Army life as an Army spouse.
Did she stay there, or did she?
She stayed home? There. No, she stayed there.
Did she?
She got a job in North Carolina teaching, and developed some really close connections with some other spouses, friends of mine, and she just, she kind of fell in love with it, like, because they all had this thing in common. I think. Anytime you go through a difficult experience with other people, it really creates this bond. The kind of bond where, like with my college buddies, I can pick up the phone. We haven't talked in a year, and it's just like
we talked yesterday.
Exactly.
Yeah, sure.
And so I think that's when she was sold on the whole idea. If she wasn't already, if she had any doubts, I think she was all in at that point. And so, first deployment, when I came back, the other great part about that was I really wasn't able to be a part of the wedding planning for that year that I was gone. So all that was taken care of. I came back. We flew home to California and got married in her, back at home, and had a big reception.
You did the ceremony and reception. You had already...
Yeah, we did.
Signed on the dotted line and done the legal part.
We called it, I guess, for lack of a better term, the church wedding. Mm-hmm. And for a long time, like even our parents, because we didn't tell anybody that we had already been married. So, parents, her her grandmother, who's passed on, didn't know that we'd already been married because we didn't want to take that experience from them. But I just remember the day we got married. It was so fun. Like I got to enjoy it and be present because it wasn't like
no
we were
nervousness.
we were already married, and it was it was a really, really fun day. So I spent another 17 years in the Army. We had our first child, our daughter Lily, at Fort Bragg. Lily's 21 now. She's a senior at the University of North Georgia, and she's studying to become a teacher, just like her mother. And
that's a military school. You said that, and I thought, oh, she's going to follow Dad.
Yeah,
into the
no,
military.
I've tried my best to encourage because I think based on my own experiences, I think it's such a great thing. It's an opportunity, sure, to give back, but it's also an opportunity to meet people from around the country, to develop relationships with people that you otherwise never would probably meet.
Right.
And to learn how much smaller the world has become. I mean, we can get on a plane in Atlanta and be anywhere in the world in a day, and it's really amazing.
And whatever happens in the world, we can know about it seconds later.
Oh, immediately.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Sure.
Immediately. So 17 years in the Army. Lily was born in North Carolina. Ella was born in Hawaii. Ella's now 19 years old, and she's going to be a sophomore at the University of North Georgia. She's moving from Dahlonega. She got to spend this past year at the same location as her sister, which we thought was great. But now she's going to the Oconee campus because she's submitted her application to transfer to UGA in the spring of next year.
Okay.
And Ella's doing great. She aspires to earn a spot on the sideline to be a cheerleader. So with any luck and a whole lot of work.
So she's a gymnast.
She is, yeah. She's done tumbling. I mean, she's done cheer and tumbling since she was very small. And with any luck and a whole lot of work, she'll be on the sideline for the 27 season.
That'll be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah. But no matter what happens, I'm so proud of her.
Does she get tickets for Mom and Dad?
Oh, she better. Yeah. I don't care if she has to buy them. Yeah.
If Dad has to buy them.
Yeah, that's probably what'll happen. But I'm really proud of her. Our son, he was born at Fort Polk, Louisiana, and Sam's 14 now. He's gonna start his freshman year at North Paulding High School, and he's big into lacrosse.
Heard about that.
Yeah.
I've got a friend of mine who's really engaged with your son in lacrosse.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I think he's going to be coaching him this year.
Who's that?
That would be Dawson.
Oh yeah.
Who's producing this
I was thinking about
podcast right now.
I was thinking about another conversation. I'm sorry, I got my wires crossed. I was thinking about another conversation I had with a friend of mine who just happened to run into a guy named Scott Busby, whose son is dating my daughter. And so small world, things like that happen all the time. But Dawson, he's a pretty good guy.
Yeah, he's all right.
Yeah, I've heard good things.
Yeah.
But yeah, Sam loves lacrosse. He kind of discovered that a couple years ago. He'd been playing football, which I thought might be his thing. And he came to me one day and he just said, he goes, "Dad, I don't want to do this anymore. I mean, there's so many kids. The North Paulding has a really big program.
Yeah.
It's during the spring ball period, and it's tough. It's easy to get overlooked, I should say. And that's what he was feeling. And, my immediate response was, and I didn't say this to him, but I'm like, no, we committed to this.
We don't quit.
We're not quitters.
That's right.
And I called a few of my buddies, and I told them, like, hey, I feel like this is a pretty significant decision I'm about to make. Do I make him finish up the football season, or do I let him try this new thing? Finally, after some conversations, I just came to understand that my son had learned something that I probably still need to figure out. And that's, you don't have to continue to do something you don't like.
Right.
You don't have to choose to be miserable.
Sure.
And, and that's, I mean, it's just another way of looking at the same problem. And so, at the end of the day,
Well,
I'm very proud of Sam.
I think the thing that strikes me, having had a son who was an athlete and played all the way through college, played baseball, he wanted to quit once.
Yeah.
And I just asked him, I said, okay, spring practice is starting. He was 11, I think.
Yeah.
And your buddies are all going to be on this travel team during the summer, and you're going to be wanting to play with them.
Right.
But if you don't start now in February, so just give it some thought, and if you want to quit. Well, he decided to keep going because he thought, this summer I'm going to be left out.
Right.
Your son, he didn't quit. He changed horses.
That's right. Yeah, that's a better way to put it.
It wasn't like he was quitting everything. He just wanted to do this other thing.
Yeah.
Which, again, there's wisdom in that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I'm so proud of him. He's just the progression he's made in this thing that he's decided on his own that he wants to do, and he's been a member of the Atlanta Kings lacrosse club for this past year. He earned a spot on the team at the end of last summer. He just found out that he's made the team the next year. They have to try out every year, which I love.
That's great.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
And
1-year contracts.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you got to earn your spot every year. He's doing great. He's a good kid. He's a really good kid. And he's coming into this, this part, and I look back at my life, 7th grade to 12th grade, were those most formative years where, like I think I said, I developed a work ethic. I think I started to figure out who I was. Certainly not completely figured out, but you start to develop that sense of self and confidence, and especially in high school, you see behavior that you want to emulate and other that you don't want to have anything to do with.
Yeah.
And so he's we're coming into a pretty important part, I think, of my son's life, and I'm excited to be a part of that.
Okay, so you spend now 20 years in the military.
Yeah.
When did you retire?
2019.
Okay.
I enlisted 4 years in college. I retired in 2019 as a major.
So your 4 years at West Point count. Well,
not toward retirement.
Okay, but the first year did.
The first year when I was at the prep school was time. Yeah.
Well, and you had a year.
I was enlisted for a couple of years before that.
Yeah, so those also count.
Yes.
For retirement.
Yep.
So that's why it was 17 years.
Yeah, 17
after
plus
you graduated.
the 3 before I went to school. Yeah.
Okay. So 2019 happens.
Yeah, 2019 happens. Actually, 2018 is when we made the decision, and I can't remember the specific conversation, but my boss at the time was the future planning operations, the future plans officer for the United States Military Academy, and Colonel Greg Boylan. And he had a classmate of his who still runs the Atlanta division of a construction company called Yates and W.G. Yates and Sons Construction Company. And he said they were looking for people to do this leadership program. So he connected me with Scott Gerald, did an interview, and Yates was good enough to put me on a paid internship. I don't know if it's an internship, but it was their leadership development program for a year, which exposed me to all different facets of commercial construction, because Yates does it all. They do roads, bridges, highways. They do industrial construction, like paper mills. And they do commercial construction, like hospitals,
office buildings.
Yep.
Yeah, shopping centers, all of it.
Medical facilities. And I got the opportunity to be on a number of those projects. Not that I was like a, overwhelming contributing member on those projects, but at least I got some exposure.
Yeah.
And so they kept me on. At the end of that year, I got to pick where I wanted to go, and as long as I'd had a good experience, and obviously the division manager was willing to take me on, then I got to. That's where I would go to work, and so I wanted to go back to Atlanta. They had a lot of work at the time in 2019, and it was like right at the time, like end of March is when we were having these discussions, and we all know what happened in the months following with COVID, and there was some talk about maybe going to Orlando. There was a big project, and they thought that might be a good fit for me, and we weren't opposed to moving to Orlando. But at the end of the day, we moved to Atlanta. Things were really unclear for a while. But we got to move forward. The company's got to move forward, and there came opportunities to do some hurricane recovery, hurricane reconstruction work on the Gulf Coast.
Right.
And so that's where I spent a lot of my time for the next year.
So your family's here, but you're going back and forth.
Yeah, 3 to 5 weeks at a time. I'm down on the Gulf Coast, and in some areas that had been decimated by a couple hurricanes that came through in late 2020, and I was miserable. I was miserable because I got out of the Army. One of the main reasons was to spend more time with my family, and now I kind of feel like I'm on a deployment, but I'm on a deployment by myself without
the team,
in a whole new type of environment where people use terminology that now I'm the guy who's not familiar with the construction terminology it's thrown around. Usually it's people don't understand the military jargon. And but I felt like this is something that I committed to and I had to finish. And it was a few conversations with my wife, Jara, and she said, "Hey, you don't have to be miserable. Like we're in a very fortunate position. We still are, where I have Army retirement, I have VA disability benefits. And so I quit that job. I think that was the first job that I quit. It was very difficult for me, but it was also eye-opening how easy it was for the company to say, well, thank you. We appreciate you giving this a shot. And then everything was cut off. I didn't have any of the, I didn't have access to my computer. I didn't have, you know what I mean? Like, I just thought it would be more of a process, but it was immediate.
Yeah.
And that was good for me. It was good for me. So I, at that point, I don't have a job, and I'm trying to figure out what the heck am I going to do. And my wife, again, helped me find an opportunity to teach high school JROTC, and I did that in Gordon County for a year, so quite a commute up 75 at Gordon Central High School. And then there came an opportunity to take over the program at South Paulding High School in Paulding County, which was a lot closer to home. And I went there. I had a really great experience with most of my time in JROTC. I loved coaching. I loved engaging with the kids, but it's hard. It is teaching at teaching high school students.
Yeah.
It is. It's not for everybody.
It's a calling, isn't it?
It truly is. And, I have always been in awe of how good my wife is at what she does and how much she loves it. Even the parts that are frustrating at times, there's nothing else that she would want to do. And I was like, hey, you might make a little more money if you were an administrator. I used to have these conversations with her, 5-10 years into our marriage, but she loves what she does. She absolutely loves teaching kids. And a couple of years ago, she was recognized as Teacher of the Year at one of the new schools in Paulding County, and I was so proud of her. She really enjoys it, but it wasn't for me. So last summer of 25 was when I stopped teaching and started thinking more seriously about starting a business. And I guess it was probably a few months later that I got connected with a franchise consultant, and really great guy from Arkansas who still checks up on me to see how I'm doing. And he connected me with a few companies. One of them was House Doctors, and I really liked what I read about them. And what sold me on them is I went up to Virginia and met the team, met the leadership, met the president of Premium Service Brands, and I really liked him, and just his vision for the company, him as a person, how approachable he is. That's, I think, what put the nail in the coffin for me in terms of making a decision, because there was another company that I was kind of going back and forth with. Another group that
Was
helped.
it another construction type company you were going?
It was
back and
a
forth with?
commercial painting company.
Okay.
Yeah. And me getting into either of those, I don't have a construction background. I spent a couple years in the construction industry. But, what I've learned over the last few months is, there are tools that can help you in terms of estimating. And, I've learned enough about what we do now that I feel very confident when I go in to write estimates for folks. But to back up, another group that was very helpful to me was the Paulding County Chamber of Commerce. I remember back in November of 25, I took them some ideas. Here are the companies that I'm considering. What do you think our area needs more of? And they were hands down like handyman company. We get calls for that all the time. And the only concern I had with that was, man, it was scary to me to think that I was going to put people in other people's homes. And there's a lot of risk associated with that. But I talked to other owners, other house doctors owners, and just kind of come to learn that it's all about the people that you hire. The general liability insurance helps to mitigate risk of bad things happening, which do occasionally. Not for us yet, which should knock on wood.
Yeah. You just haven't been in business long enough, because it will happen.
It will. I'm sure it will.
Sure.
But I've got two really great employees right now. The number one priority for me when I'm talking with people is they have to have good character. And it's really for that reason. We're going into people's homes. We're going to work on their most valuable asset in most cases. And, I want our customers to know that, these people that I hire, I've got to feel good about on a personal level. And then we'll start talking about the skills that they have. And can you do this type of work? Can you do that type of work? I'm really excited to say that we have 2 employees. I've made an offer to a third, and we're set to move forward with onboarding him beginning next week.
I think you started here at Desktop in March, April.
I learned about Desktop through BNI.
Yeah.
Because I was doing a BNI 1-to-1 even before I had become an official member, which didn't happen until after my business opened. And somebody suggested that we come here for a 1-to-1. And I was like, man, this place is great. And they walked me around the back and showed me your facility.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think it was end of March or early April. I came in and spoke to Jen about just getting a membership.
And now you're about to hire your third employee.
Yeah.
And that's really kind of a superintendent a job superintendent, somebody who can come in and do the work or supervise the work being done if it's over and if it's a lot.
Yeah.
That's extraordinary growth, I would say.
Yeah, I'm proud of it. Like I'm only able to do it because the leads haven't slowed down. They're actually at a volume that I can't keep up with at this point, which is a good problem to have.
Good problem, yeah.
And yeah, the business is growing. I have great friends in BNI who, I had a meeting on Monday that made me completely rethink about this next hire and what I'm going to do with the other employees to take some of the load off of me and actually put somebody in a position to do estimates who could do a whole lot better than I can. Mm-hmm. And has the ability to have conversations with homeowners about other work projects that they may have that, we can or we cannot do this. And so I think that's going to make us even more effective. And I say effective in terms of helping customers and also, gaining opportunity to do work.
For those people who are, maybe watching this and they're thinking about starting a business, and I go back to the E-Myth, on this. If you've never read the E-Myth, it's the entrepreneurial myth. And the whole premise of the E-Myth and the E-Myth Revisited was that you've got somebody who is just a fantastic carpenter.
Yeah.
I'll keep it in your genre. He's a fantastic carpenter. And all of his friends tell him, man, you ought to open your own carpentry shop.
Yeah.
You ought to build furniture. You ought to run trim yourself. You're working for this builder, but man, you could open your own deal. And so they're like, okay, I think I'll do that.
Yeah.
And then they're a year into it and they go, I didn't know there was marketing. I didn't know there was accounting. I just know how to drive nails and frame walls really, really well. But all the other stuff is taking away my joy from what I did. So that's the entrepreneurial myth. Not everybody is cut out to be an entrepreneur. Yeah. You decided to open a business. We've got lots of people who are always every day thinking about opening their own business. Happened a lot during COVID. People thought, hey, I'm working from home anyway. Yeah. I'll go ahead and start that side hustle. I'm in the real estate business for 40 years. Yeah. And it's amazing how many, we had 300,000 realtors join, the National Association of Realtors in 2021 alone.
Wow. That's
most ever. Because everybody wants to scratch that itch. Yeah. I can be a realtor. Well, in the last 2 years, we've had 600,000 leave.
I believe it.
Because they're just, the market changes. But you had to make a decision. I am going to go with a franchise. I'm not going to open this on my own and just put out Newbill Construction, Newbill Handyman Services. You could have. What pushed you toward a franchise versus doing something on your own? Because I think a lot of people are wrestling with that when they go to start a business. Yeah. What is the benefit of the franchise model?
It was, if I go back to, my thoughts on starting a business, I didn't know where to start. So at the end of the summer in 25, when I was thinking about starting a travel company, because my family loves to travel, and I kind of get a little crazy in terms of putting schedules together, and we've been on some fun trips. But where do you start? I had no idea where to start. And it was sort of like an epiphany when that franchise consultant reached out to me through LinkedIn. I just answered one of his in-mail question because he sounded a little different than some others that I'd read.
So basically, you're on LinkedIn. You're just kind of scrolling through. You see his thing and
checking my mail once a month. I try to do. And his message popped up. It just something about it resonated with me, and I had never, when I think of franchises, I think of Chick-fil-A and Burger King, and I hadn't ever considered franchises that do other things. And when he started to show me these options, it was like an epiphany. It was like, okay, so
by the way, there's thousands of franchises.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. And it was like, well, I can open my own business, and someone's going to tell me how I ought to do it and what the steps are that I should go through. Yeah. I mean, it was like a no-brainer. I was like, I can do this, and that was the first time that I really felt that way. And then it was a matter of deciding which direction I wanted to go, what company I wanted to work with.
Was it extremely capital intensive? Yeah, in this case,
did it cost a lot of money?
Yeah,
to start. Not as much as I thought. I did have to take out a home equity loan to start the business, but it wasn't as much as I thought it would be. There's probably some other things I could have done with retirement savings, but at the time we didn't want to touch that. That money had already been labeled as this is what it's for.
Well, and as far as I can see, when you jumped into to this franchise, you jumped into the deep end with both feet. I mean, you've got what three trucks now leased, and one on the way.
Yeah, it will be actually 3 service vans by the end of the month. Yeah, that's kind of exciting.
Yeah,
I mean, I was really last.
Which, by the way, are billboards.
Yeah, exactly.
Everywhere they go.
Oh, I think about that every time our service vans are wrapped, and my F-150 that I drive around is wrapped, and every time I park, it's always something I think about.
Yeah.
Like I want to maybe if I got to walk a little further, I don't mind as long as I can put this billboard over here by people.
Put it by itself, where you're not,
exactly.
You're not between two white vans.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Whether it's Home Depot or wherever, I'm trying to, let people see it. But yeah, it's, it is, in some ways I feel like, I could have done that. That's how I feel now. I could have done this on my own, but not 7 months ago. I could not have done this on my own. So it's only because of the experience I've gained and the great coaching I've received from the folks at Premium Service Brands that has allowed me to have the opportunity to be successful. And like I said, at this point, I feel like I've learned enough, which it probably isn't true, but that's how I feel. There's probably still so many lessons I have yet to learn. But the other cool thing about being a part of a franchise is I have access to all these owners across the country, and currently
going back to what you said, you're part of a team, you're part of a family.
Yeah.
It's
I don't feel like I'm
everywhere.
completely on my own.
Right.
Yeah. There's a community of people out there that I can reach out to, both new owners and owners that have been at this for several years and over a decade. And I have access to those folks, and they're so welcoming. And currently the number one guy in our particular franchise, House Doctors, is in the Savannah area. His name's Mark Boyd, and he's very, very successful. And I got to go spend a few days with him back in, I think it was January, February. It was a slow time for him, which I didn't get to see as much work being done, but I got a lot of one-on-one time with Mark. And some of the things he told me probably won't really resonate until I've grown this business more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, to a modicum of success that he was trying to give you insights. And you haven't gotten far enough
but I haven't
in your
realized
journey
that yet.
Right.
Yeah.
For that to be relevant.
Yeah. So I'm sure there'll be gates I pass in the future, and I'll be like, oh man, that makes sense now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been really good. I'm
going to give you an analogy.
Okay.
Tell me if you think this is a good analogy: franchise or go it alone. Mm-hmm. You've been skiing? Mm-hmm. You know how to ski?
Yeah.
Did you go to ski school?
That
half-day ski school they'll offer you for people who've never skied?
I don't even know if I did.
For people who have never skied before.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I skied when I was younger. Never went to ski school. I was athletic. I thought, I got this.
Yeah.
Later, I took a ski school, right? Because my kids were in there, and so I thought, I'll go with my kids.
Sure.
I learned so much and enjoyed skiing so much more because I had people who gave me the tricks of the trade of, I think franchises are kind of that way. Mm-hmm. You can do it yourself and you can figure it out.
Yeah.
It's just that with a franchise, you can figure it out faster because you have somebody there coaching you down the slope.
Yep.
So you don't crash and burn
like
I did so many times because I can figure this out.
Yeah.
I can do this on my own.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think for me personally, I'm that entrepreneur that does feel that way. I can figure this out. I'm a fairly intelligent guy. And it's only recently, like in the last several years, that I've actually taken advantage of consultants to come in and look at my business and see the things I can't see.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah.
You kind of stepped over that with the franchise. They're telling you the things that you can't see before you get there.
Yeah. Right. So, in a lot of ways, that's why I said it was like an epiphany, like, oh my gosh, there are these opportunities. And it was really a no-brainer for me. Like, I'm going to do this. I can follow a plan. And, do you think your military background really prepared you for that too? Probably. In the Army, you change jobs every, year to 2 years. It's very rare that you're in the same job for longer than 2 years. So, you're constantly doing different things, gaining more responsibility, and yeah, I'm sure it did. I mean, it was such a huge part of my life for a quarter century. Like, yeah, it definitely is a huge part of who I am. But it's also, getting out of the Army was, I mean, that period, I'd say probably 4-year period after I was out of the Army was very difficult for me. And I didn't see it coming. I thought I had a plan. They tell you don't leave without a plan. And I thought I had a plan. I did have a plan. But when it didn't work out the way I thought it would, I just felt like a failure. I felt like a complete failure. I was just one of those guys, one of those vets who got out and now he's looking for another job, doesn't know his place yet in the world. Mm-hmm. And, that's really how I felt. I felt that way for a long time. And I think probably until, last summer, maybe a little earlier than last summer, I started to feel like I was getting it back. Like I knew my place. I had an idea of where I wanted to go. When people would ask me when I got out of the Army, like, what do you want to do? And I said, I don't know what I want to do. I was an infantry officer, so like, I don't know what I want to do. I've worked on all kinds of different projects, and that's why it really seemed to make sense that the construction industry seemed like it would be a good fit. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of similarities between the military and the construction industry. NCOs, superintendents, and project managers are kind of like junior officers. Then you have executives that are kind of like senior officers, and it did. But I think part of the problem was I didn't know who I was without the Army. And it took some time, took years really to sort of get to a place where I can look back and be proud of what I've done and, laugh about some experiences that I've had and also at the same time be excited about where I'm at and where I'm going. And it's a really good feeling.
Do you think the government could do a better job of preparing, retiring officers, NCOs, doesn't matter? I
don't know.
In their exit strategy?
I don't know. I think they do about as good a job as they can.
Okay.
I mean, the role of the military is to train and be ready for combat. That's really the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
And I mean, on the way out, they do have a series of classes that you have to attend. And, some of them are great, some of them are not so great. But they do offer those opportunities. I kind of look at it as it's more the responsibility of people who have been there. Mm-hmm. So whenever I hear about somebody who's getting ready to transition out of the military, I'm not trying to make it sound like it's this terrible experience, but it is an experience. It is
Sure.
a challenging experience. You're going to have to figure out how to put all that stuff down and become something new. Mm-hmm. And, I think that's really what it was all about. And I love talking with guys who are going through it or getting ready to go through it. And I think that is more impactful than hearing somebody pitch a class, to a group of soldiers who are about to leave. Because most of us at that point had an idea of what we were doing next. And, I don't need you to tell me how to do X, Y, and Z because I've got a plan. But I think I think just the process is more than can be described in a classroom. I think you got to sit down with somebody who's been there, mm-hmm. and then sometimes it's the responsibility of the person who's going through it to reach out and say, hey man, this is tough, and have you ever encountered a situation like this? And most likely yes, but
right,
sometimes no, but let's talk about it and figure it out.
Well, in America, we as men don't like to reach out and say that we don't have an answer.
No.
Do we?
No, we don't.
There's a pride involved there.
We don't. And you know, as a new business owner, maybe more so than any other time in my life, I've really had to, you know, I've had to do that. I have to be comfortable with that because there's so much I don't know, and there's a ton I'm learning, and I know so much more than I did, you know, even a month ago. But you know, that's really what it's all about. Otherwise, you are stuck trying to recreate the wheel, and that's hard. It's hard to do. What I'm doing now is hard, but it's also very fun. It's rewarding. I love when we come off a project and the customer's happy. You know, I love that. I love the idea that I'm, you know, providing a good salary for people who do this kind of work. I mean, I'm very confident that I pay more than, you know, any other handyman company in the area. But I love that, and I want to continue to do that because, you know, in the construction industry, most guys with the skills that my employees have, I mean, they're traveling across the state, or they're traveling states away from their home, and they're making a lot of money, but they're spending a lot of time away from home.
Sure.
And one of the benefits, I think, to working for a company like mine is it's an opportunity for highly skilled craftsmen to work in the communities where they live and, you know, get back that family time, that quality family time, especially when your kids are young. It's so important to you as a parent, but especially to the children. And I mean, I think that's something that people are looking for. I think that's more important than money, than the money that you can make by sacrificing all that time away from home.
It absolutely is. I mean, because you can't get that back.
You cannot, no.
You know, one of the things I really appreciate about my son-in-law, the Air Force pilot, he literally took a job. He's a pilot. I mean, he loves to fly airplanes. He took a job where it's an administrative role, so that he could keep his kids like in the same school. He came in 5 years before retirement, and he'll be there probably through retirement. In this he's staying current. He goes every other month or so, and he flies, and he does the simulator and all that kind of stuff. But he took a job so he could be around his kids, and not be deployed for 6 months or you know, that kind of thing, or be flying a week at a time. Sometimes he sacrificed. Sometimes you don't get that opportunity. He did. You're providing something for people where they can make a great income, provide for their families, but also be there for their families.
And I think that's certainly my intent, and I'm really proud that we're able to do that right now.
Robbert, thank you so much for coming and joining us across the desktop. I mean, great story. There are a lot of people who are thinking, I want to start a business. What do I do? I think they'll get a lot of content that's usable, that's valuable through this.
Great.
So, you know, and as you grow this thing, we'll have you back.
I look forward to it.
All right.
Thank you so much, Dave.
Yeah. Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, Dave.